AP Cram, the AP Human Geography exam, free response question 65, Centripetal Forces, India. Remember that Section 2 consists of free response questions. There are 3 questions that should be formatted as short essay answers, and you have 75 minutes to complete them, so allocate your time properly. The free response section is 50% of your exam score. You're required to define and explain and apply geographic concepts and also interpret geographic data. Okay? Before we get into the subject matter, let's orient ourselves. Okay, so this is India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Actually, no, this is Pakistan, not Bangladesh. Bangladesh is over here, Bhutan, and this is a snippet of China, okay? All right. So the viability of any nation state depends on a balance between centripetal and centrifugal forces. Mention 13 examples of centripetal forces and explain how they affect the viability of all the nation states pictured here, okay? All right, so centripetal forces, what they're going to do is unify a state, all right? So they unify the state by providing stability, strength. They bind different nation states together and they would create a solidarity among the region, okay? So a solidarity among India, even between India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, although, there's a separation uh, via the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, but a really good centripetal force would serve to unify ties between India and Sri Lanka, okay? And so other ties could be centripetal forces that unify Nepal and India, Bhutan and China, and Bangladesh and China, and Bangladesh and India, okay? I'm just re-mentioning all the names of the regions so you can become familiar with the geography, just in case you're not familiar already, all right? All right, so the first centripetal force that we're going to explore is religion. Hinduism in India or Nepal, and Islam in Pakistan or Bangladesh. And then we have Buddhism in Bhutan, this region right here. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit more at length, specifically in the regions bordering India and Pakistan. Within the Pakistani region, religion serves as a unifying centripetal force. When Pakistan first broke off from India, there was a lot of tension. Many Hindus therefore relocated to India, where they would not be considered a minority. Simultaneously, many followers of Islam dwelling in India and Bangladesh at the time migrated to Pakistan, which was for the most part an Islamic nation. Today, that religious homogeneity helps in maintaining the stability both in Pakistan and to some extent in India. In these regions, religions help to forge nationalism. Okay. A second unifying force in this region of India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Bangladesh is going to be language. Urdu, the official language, or Punjabi or English in Pakistan, and Hindi or English in India, and Bengali in Bangladesh, okay? So Punjabi or English in Pakistan over here, Hindi or English in India. And just to give you an example, like in matters of governing and official documents, English is India's national official language for those purposes. Okay, so that's just an example of how matters are resolved and unified through a shared language. All right. A third centripetal or unifying force in this region is going to be expressions of national pride and symbols such as anthems, sport teams, flags. One good example is a sport, and that's cricket in India, as well to a lesser degree, soccer. Okay. A fourth set of unifying or centripetal forces for this region of Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and the Tibet of China um, is raison d'etre and shared history. These two things can be mentioned together because they have overarching similarities. So this term right here, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it means reasons for being, for existence. And because a lot of these people, although they're divided by geographical and political borders, they share cultural history and religious belief that give them a unified sense of their raison d'etre, their existential being. They see it as very similar because of these shared religious and cultural beliefs. Furthermore, this region has a history of British imperialism and a breaking away of nation states such as Pakistan and Bangladesh. So they're going to share similarities in that sense also, thus further unifying the region. Okay? Fifth centripetal or unifying force for this region is the potential for external threats. So, because of this, although there might be some division amongst the countries, they're going to huddle together if it means protecting each other so that they're not recolonized or, you know, destroyed due to outside attacks. So in this instance, India and Pakistan, although there was a secession of Pakistan from India, if there is some major outside force trying to attack them, they're going to unify. So the potential threat of being attacked also unifies this region. So, a sixth unifying or centripetal force in the region, specifically, this is with regard to Sri Lanka and Bhutan, is their morphology, or the fact that these are relatively compact states surrounded in, isolation. In the case of Sri Lanka, they're surrounded by water. And in case you're wondering what the definition of compact state is, it's a physical form that's roughly circular, although it's not that circular, it's circular enough. The same with Bhutan. And the thing with Bhutan, it's surrounded by China. So, the fact that they're politically divided from China is going to unify everyone within the country even more. And Sri Lanka is surrounding by water, so everyone will be close knit. And in case you're wondering what morphology means, it's just the study of the physical form and structure of a region, or it could be anything. But yes, so the physicality or the geography of the area in terms of its isolation from surrounding areas will be a unifying centripetal force as well. Okay. A seventh unifying force in this region is going to be a charismatic or strong leader. That's going to be your absolute monarchy in Nepal, this region right here, okay? And the military leadership in Pakistan. So charismatic for Nepal and strong military leadership in Pakistan. Okay. All right. An eighth unifying force, specifically in this region, we're going to be talking about Pakistan, is what's known as a forward capital. And for those of you who don't know the operational definition of a forward capital, it's a symbolically relocated capital city, usually for economic or strategic reasons. A strategic reason for forwarding a capital from one place to another is that you now begin to integrate parts of the country that might have felt left out in the past. So this happened in Pakistan. The capital of Pakistan was moved from Karachi. It's like a water, port country, all the way up north to Islamabad, a highly religious area. And this served to unify the country even more because Pakistan is a Islamic nation. Okay, all right. A ninth, unfortunate but certainly unifying centripetal force in this region is going to be disaster response. Okay, for example, the earthquake that occurred in Pakistan, the floodings and cyclones that occur in Bangladesh, tsunamis in India and Sri Lanka. These events are all natural disasters that are certainly unfortunate, not unfortunate, but they also have a unifying effect on the populations. A 10th unifying centripetal force in this region of South Asia is going to be economic development programs that are in place. And the important thing about the process of economic development is that it's going to transition these countries from having low income national economies into modern industrialized economies, okay? So an example of economic development is the self-sufficiency program in India, okay? All right, so an 11th unifying centripetal force is going to be the physical geography of a region. Again, this was kind of, excuse me, mentioned earlier, and we're going to use Pakistan as the example here. So Pakistan, as a river valley, is isolated by a mountain range, okay? Like up here, so it's cut off from the northeastern regions of like China and to some extent Afghanistan, and the rest of the country is like a river valley. And if it's not isolated by mountains in the northeastern region, it's isolated by desert areas from Afghanistan and India. Okay, so everyone's kind of isolated in, you're kind of just forced to be unified by default. A 12th unifying force in this South Asian region is going to be the government. Specifically, we'll use India as the example here. So India's representative democracy is going to be an added feature or an added centripetal force that serves to unify rather than divide the people of the region. Okay, all right. A 13th unifying force is going to be the transportation and communication infrastructure specifically established in India. Okay, so ease of travel, ease of transportation of goods and services, as well as the ushering in of the Internet of Things makes communication way more easy. Also, you have railroad infrastructure all throughout India. So this is going to definitely be a centripetal force in unifying people through economics and ease of communication. Okay.